Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you or someone you know has been impacted by the recent Los Angeles fires, you already know that the aftermath is just incredibly overwhelming. Between the emotional toll and the sheer exhausting bureaucracy of insurance and city permits, it can honestly feel like you're lost in a maze. But today, we're going to try to clear the smoke. We're using a really fantastic comprehensive guide put together by Letter 4. They're an architecture and contracting design build firm to map out a clear, empowering roadmap. This explainer is specifically designed to help LA homeowners navigate the really complex process of rebuilding, offering you practical, actionable advice so you can actually take back control of your recovery. To help beat that inevitable decision fatigue, here's our agenda. We'll be covering 1. Navigating your rebuild options, 2. Option 1, the exact rebuild, 3. Expanding and customizing, 4. The ADU living strategy, and finally, 5. Relocating and final tips. Let's get right into it. Okay, so before we even talk about full teardowns or total rebuilds, we need to talk about minor damage. And what's really interesting here is this specific number, 10%. If your property suffered minor fire, water, or framing damage, the city of Los Angeles already allows for what they call express permits. Basically, these let you repair damage up to 10% of your property's total replacement cost. And you know the absolute best part? There are absolutely no drawings required to start, none. You can literally pull the permit and get the work going right away. But if your damage exceeds that 10% mark, well, we need to look at the bigger picture. Section 1, Navigating Your Rebuild Options, Understanding Foundations and Funding. Now, this is a huge takeaway. It's basically a hidden gem buried right there in the California Insurance Code. Think about it. If you have an older home, it probably doesn't meet today's super strict modern building codes. Well, by law, an open policy of residential property insurance actually has to provide additional building code upgrade coverage of no less than 10% of your dwelling coverage limits. So, what does this mean for you? It's mandatory extra funding specifically for those required code upgrades and, this is the kicker, using it won't deplete your main policy limits. Knowing your rights here can unlock thousands of dollars you probably didn't even know you had. Moving on to Section 2, Option 1, the exact rebuild, speed and familiarity. For a lot of people, rebuilding exactly what was there is the absolute fastest route to getting life back to normal. There's a lot of comfort and memory tied to that original design, right? Plus, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass issued an executive order that specifically expedites the permitting process for this exact route. Basically, if you stay within the same footprint, you get to skip to the front of the line. But step 1 is absolutely crucial. You have to verify your insurance payouts first. This path is heavily driven by your insurance, and remember, they calculate the payout based on the value of your home, minus depreciation. So you'll want to consult with a licensed design-build firm or an architect, dig up those previous drawings if you still have them, and submit those plans to lock in that highly coveted expedited permitting. Section 3, Expanding and Customizing, Options 2 and 3. So Option 2 is this really fascinating middle ground. Get this. Under the expedited permitting process, you are actually allowed to rebuild up to 110% of your original square footage and height. This is an absolute game changer for families who have grown since their house was built, or, maybe you were already thinking about a modest addition before the fires even happened. And you can potentially fund this extra space using that 10% code upgrade funding we talked about earlier, maybe mixed with some personal savings. Now, quick heads up from the source material, though. The executive order's exact rules on how that 110% is actually measured, they remain a little bit vague, so working closely with an architect is going to be essential, for sure, just to make sure you stay safely inside the bounds of that expedited plan check. But what if you want to go totally custom? Well, Option 3 is what we call the dream home. This is for those of you who want to completely redesign the property to fit your life right now. But let's do a quick reality check here, comparing it to the exact rebuild. Unlike Option 1, building a dream home means going through the standard permitting process. And because the city is so heavily prioritizing those expedited fire rebuilds, standard permitting timelines are going to drag. They will be much slower. Also, insurance alone is not going to cover a massive, totally custom upgrade, so you're definitely looking at heavy out-of-pocket costs or taking out construction loans. If you do go the dream home route, step 1 is establishing an all-in budget. And I mean all in. You're not just calculating raw wood and nails here. You have to factor in design fees, engineering, permit fees, landscaping, and, super importantly right now, fire-resistant materials and green or passive home features. Because those standard permit wait times are going to be so long, the best advice here is do not wait. Start collaborating on custom plans with a design build team like yesterday, so you can secure your place in line and try to beat the rush. Which naturally brings us to the elephant in the room. It's a massive, looming question every single homeowner has to face, no matter which rebuilding path they take. Where exactly are you going to sleep while all of this heavy construction is going on? That brings us to Section 4, the ADU living strategy, temporary housing on your property. So an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, is simply a secondary housing unit on your lot. The strategy here is pretty clever. You build the ADU first, live in it while your main house is being rebuilt, and then later you keep it as a rental property, a home office, or a guest suite to add future value to your property. And actually, Mayor Bass's executive order streamlines the permitting for ADUs too. But we need to be completely objective about the day-to-day reality of this. Living inside a recovering burn zone takes a massive emotional toll. You're going to be constantly reminded of the trauma, all while dealing with daily construction noise, the dust, the debris. I mean, yes, it gives you amazing on-site oversight of your build, but honestly, if covering living expenses somewhere else isn't a huge financial strain, living off-site might just be better for your peace of mind. But if you do decide the ADU strategy is right for you, here is how you tackle it. First, evaluate feasibility with an architect, because not all zoning allows for it. Second, and please do not skip this, you must confirm that utilities have actually been restored to your specific area, and that all hazardous materials have been totally cleared from your lot. To speed things up, you might want to look into pre-approved prefab units. Those can be delivered in just a matter of weeks, instead of doing a full custom build. Finally, you will likely need to secure separate financing for this, like a home equity loan, because your standard insurance payout probably isn't going to cover an ADU upfront. Section 5. Relocating and final tips. Option 4, and moving forward. Bringing all this together, we've talked about the exact rebuild, the 110% rebuild, and the dream home. But there is a fourth option we need to acknowledge: relocating. For some people, rebuilding in the exact same location just isn't the right move. Maybe it's emotional trauma, safety concerns about future fires, or just wanting a total lifestyle change. And here is the crucial detail you absolutely need to take away. Insurance policies very often include provisions that allow you to use your settlement funds to buy or build a home entirely somewhere else. You don't necessarily have to stay if leaving is what's best for your recovery. Whichever path you choose, there are a few universal, non-negotiable tips. Number 1, document absolutely everything. Actually, a really pro tip here is to create a brand new, totally separate email address dedicated solely to your rebuild and insurance emails, just so nothing gets lost in the shuffle of your daily inbox. Photograph and inventory all damage. Only work with licensed professionals who have specific experience in new custom home construction. And above all else, please take care of your mental health. This whole process is an exhausting marathon physically and emotionally. Lean on your friends, your family, and professional counselors. Rebuilding from the ashes is an immense, incredibly heavy challenge, but having a structured plan really does help turn that chaos into actionable steps. So I want to leave you with this final, pivotal question. Looking at your own unique situation, which of these rebuilding paths best aligns with your budget, your emotional needs, and your vision for the future? Please, don't navigate this crossroads alone. Reach out to professionals, understand your rights, and take that first empowered step toward your new front door. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.